can't beat the atmosphere here in Viva.
My friend, what can I get? Story.
Hello, Mr. Crossell.
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei.
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any...
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end I did acquire a small piece of smaragdus jadeite. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize, I've already rented them out to a lady named Chiao.
Wait, isn't smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss J. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she must compensate me for its full original value. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times...
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false? Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy.
In that case, might you know where Miss Chow lives? We'd like to pay her a visit.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell. We'll...
I should write a story.
Leo Lee Pavilion. Best Lee food in town. Leo Lee Pavilion. Best Lee food in town.
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Monsieur Chow? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, My family is in the ore business too. But we now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around. So we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me. But now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Monsieur Chow.
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? True. Though
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must, and given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation...
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Jichao looks like...
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be able to find... Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by...
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the jadeite is genuine, would there?
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossell in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins. So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow.
What did I feel? Well, I remember that my family has seen much...
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Truly, I am. I'll pay the compensation.
Mora! Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her...
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. It was in fact genuine Smaragdus jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course! Genuine article
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the...
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last more.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that.
Please wait, Miss Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can...
I should tell a story. What can I get you? Why do they have to do a transfer?
How many days has Daddy been away?
Just call me. Ugh, what should I try this time?
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins...
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already...
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, They could even experience a dramatic change of personality. Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Crossel's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it, and then he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in.
so vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this,
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I?
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track. It feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look.
I've had a read through.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of geoenergy around Mr. Crossel, so perhaps he has, in fact, secured some. Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter, but either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to. I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of. If Mr. Crossel had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Let me.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to. Oh, it's you, Miss Yanfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Crossel enlisted.
A Snezhnayan merchant. I do remember that. He brought me. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus Jadeite or not. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought.
Do you have.
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look.
What should I try this time?
I just like to make people smile.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross sections and patterning suggest yes. It's not particularly rare, nor is it I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation.
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus.
Is that so? Well, we might have... So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao is able to tell what it was?
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great... These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it... There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an and, I'm sure, a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shit.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Cross...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
What should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade? Miss Yenfei? Might I be so bold as to inquire,
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossell did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store...
yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says quite clearly, 1 chunks...
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record?
Of course. But...
Oh, I have my reasons. Yes. Please sign here on this affidavit. This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the,
Yes, I see. Forgive...
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossell won't dare try to deny what he did.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Sinxie. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Look,
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide...
So you help them make sense of the law. But
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized...
you...
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again with that casual...
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for...
What should I try this time?
Try your luck betting on Jade?
What are you staring at? New stock at Seago Antiques? Bad news for my purse.
Jewelry's out of stock, but we have some new items in.
Adventurers Guild. You'll have a...
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened?
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you...
Crossell.
Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yeah, he came to... The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found it. This order was on hold for a very long time.
Doesn't seem like there's any.
Miss Inksy, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high. Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Sinksy. Now...
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that...
Nothing you need to worry about. Just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or some...
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last...
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to...
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirmed once we have this final piece of evidence in our hand.
my, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, and if it isn't Miss Yanfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor.
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, I wonder, Miss...
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document.
You're too kind.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded.
Wonderful. Well then.
Of course. Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Sure.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pin. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly...
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you...
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert This is a processing record from...
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him...
That's an unsubstantiated...
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated.
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him.
Hard evidence? Something legally... Oh, come on. I meant the backup copy of the document from the Ministry of Civil Affairs. The one we got from Xingxi of Mingxing Jewelry.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy...
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the...
Of course I'm right. All the evidence...
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of... Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as Smaragdus Jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring sustained contact with Smaragdus Jadeite over a prolonged period Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar...
I...
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation.
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear, Mr. Crossell.
Huh? No,
aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have... Mr. Crossell, your answer, please.
Yep, he's seriously intimidating right now. It's like...
I admit it. I confess. The orb. But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few... I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. But how could I let all that money go to waste? That's why I had another pair of... I kept the real Smaragdus jade. I was worried that someone would see through.
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either. But when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely to see how much I could make off it. If word got out that I sold a pair...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client.
10 times.
Crossell looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to...
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't... Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them. However, Mr. Crossell, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead? I'll consider us even.
What? But all right, then. This cursed...
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that it will suffice as remuneration?
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, come on. No need... Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no...
Is that so?
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I could see from the hairpins you produced that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other... If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and...
Let me think for a moment.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too.
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, even though the solution didn't involve actually finding...
The right solution depends on your perspective on... The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce an Adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little in any case. Don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today...
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely...
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on tenterhook.
You've returned. Good.
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now.
Oh, you.
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you. I've been looking into the.
Come now, child.
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. It Yanfei, my. Leo. All right then.
Oh, Paimon's so excited!
Hold it firmly. If you were take these blueprints with you as.
Wait a minute!
Oh.
This is a peaceful neighborhood.
I take my meals cold to quiet the spirit.
Wow! This teapot seems even bigger inside than Madame Ping! Huh. But there's just a whole load of nothing around it. Hey! There's a perfectly good house right over there! What? Still. Oh, wait a sec.
Well, it seems that...
It's a huge finch!
Excuse me, I am, hang on. Oh, call me. I suppose you...
So you're the little...
Madam Ping? Oh, you may leave all your journey may be far, though it is the Adepti who... Thus, we teapot speak. You may consider me. Now, allow me... Have you any blueprints on? As long as you have a blueprint, you can...
Blueprints?
Yes, these are the blueprints I'm talking about. Go on, open them up. Just commit the image of, then simply release the...
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't...
I doubt it. He said this world is not...
A golden idol...
I hardly remember myself. Well, let's not... If there's any... Maybe you're not. If you ever.
Exorcism uses thaumaturgy and martial arts to conquer evil. There are other means to the same end, but they are not the true way.
Master has relayed my situation to you, I take it?
Oh?
I'd intended to wait until you came back before going to sleep, but I didn't hear you come in. I was worried that something may have happened to you. On top of this, you have been acting very strangely around me this morning, causing me to suspect that After all, Master is...
Sorry, Shenhua. Paimon had you down as an adeptus this...
It's okay. I don't mind. the fault is mine for not explaining everything to you sooner. Because in my experience trying to... Still, though you mistook me for an Adeptus, you never treated me as distant and unapproachable. Instead, for this, I am very grateful indeed.
To be fair, we've met our fair share of real adept. Anyway, now it's settled. From now on, you're our friend, whether you're an Adeptus or a human.
Got it. Although I don't know quite what it entails in terms of what I have to do.
Great! Well, now that we're all... But before we do that, let's go to the building site and ask After all, Sunset Vermilionite is so rare. Paimon doubts many competitors will really be able to... Oh, and another thing. We bought some grilled chicken drumsticks on the way back last night. There was a place just outside. Here's one for...
I concur. It has a rich flavor, far more